Hello and welcome to the online quiz of Spennymoor Catholic Club for the period from the beginning of July 2022. This is the last online quiz of Spennymoor Catholic Club. It started the online quizzes following lockdown in March 2020, but obviously things are more or less back to normal now. In fact, I would say they are back to normal. And the quizzes can obviously be visited in real life these days. So anyway, we'll crack on. Last one, there's 5 rounds, 6 questions, 2 rounds on television characters. I'll start off with those. 6 questions, as I said, self-score, 2 points for each correct answer, 1 point if you're partially right, no points if you are wrong. Let's see how we do. Number 1. Ben Harper, Susan Harper and Roger Bailey were all characters in which television sitcom? Ben Harper, Susan Harper and Roger Bailey were all characters in which television sitcom? Remember, go at your own pace, pause as you so wish, give yourself more thinking time. Number 2. Gene Warboys, Patrick Trench and Margaret Meldew were all characters in which television sitcom? Number 3. Alan Moore, Miss Jones and Vienna the Cat. In which sitcom were they? And number 4. Easy one, this one. Trigger Boycey and Uncle Albert. And number 5. Ted Bovis, Spike Dixon and Gladys Pugh. And finally, going back a bit, number 6, Stan Butler, Olive and Inspector Blake. So which television sitcom were Stan Butler, Olive and Inspector Blake all in? Right, from television characters we'll go on to UK Prime Ministers. Number 1. Which UK Prime Minister won the Admiral's yachting race in 1971? Which UK Prime Minister won the Admiral's yachting race? It was the Admiral's Cup yachting race in 1971. Number 2. Which Prime Minister graduated from Oxford University with a Bachelor of Science degree specialising in X-ray crystallography? So which Prime Minister graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree from Oxford University specialising in X-ray crystallography? And number 3. Who is the only Prime Minister to have refused 2 dukedoms from 2 separate monarchs? Who is the only Prime Minister to have refused 2 dukedoms from 2 separate monarchs? And number 4. There's only 5 questions in this round, by the way, because there's 2 points for each correct answer on this one. Only 2 Prime Ministers have become Prime Ministers. So in other words, only 2 people have become Prime Ministers without holding a prior ministerial office, as in a cabinet office. So only 2 people have become Prime Minister without holding a previous major cabinet role. Who were they? Both 2021st recent Prime Ministers, shall we say. 2 points for each correct answer on that one. And finally, who was the UK's oldest serving Prime Minister? Right, so that's the one on Prime Ministers. Now we'll go to the one on general knowledge. Number 1, where in London would you find Speaker's Corner? Almost gave the answer there. Where in London would you find Speaker's Corner? And number 2, in the secret agencies MI5 and MI6. What do the initials MI actually stand for? And number 3, to date, who has been the only female Speaker of the House of Commons? So who's been the only female Speaker of the House of Commons? And number 4, which country was once called New Holland? Which country was once called New Holland? And number 5, the statue of which person is situated outside the House of Commons holding a King James Bible? So the statue of which person is situated outside the House of Commons holding a King James Bible? And number 6, which is the largest country in Africa by size? By area, of course, therefore. So that's Prime Minister's general knowledge and the first round on TV sitcoms characters gone. Right, music. I'm going to ask some questions on music. You'll remember me when the west wind moves upon the fields of barley. You'll remember me when the west wind moves upon the fields of barley are the opening lines from which song? And number 2, I'll Be There For You, which was the Friends television theme, was sung by which group? Number 3, Robert Plant, I don't know whether he still is, I presume he still is, do they still exist, was or is the lead singer of which iconic rock band? And number 4, what links Emily Bronte with Kate Bush? What links Emily Bronte with Kate Bush? And number 5, which singer once famously wore a dress made of beef to the MTV Awards in 2010? Who once famously wore a dress made of beef to the 2010 MTV Awards? And finally, number 6, who was the youngest Beatle? So we've had one on TV characters, a round on Prime Ministers, round on general knowledge, that's round on music, and we're going to go with the last round again on TV characters. I'm going to give you some TV characters. You just want to know the show that they were in. Final 6 questions. In which TV comedy show would you have found the characters Mick Garvey, the Oracle and Matteo? Mick Garvey, the Oracle and Matteo. Number 2, Yvette Carte Blanche, Air Flick and René Artois. And number 3, Betty Spencer, Mrs. Fisher and Jessica. Betty Spencer, Mrs. Fisher and Jessica. And number 4, Brian Potter, Jerry Dignan and Paddy O'Shea. Brian Potter, Jerry Dignan and Paddy O'Shea. Number 5, Betty Slocum and Wilberforce Humphreys. Betty Slocum and Wilberforce Humphreys. And finally, Polly Sherman, Major Gowan and Manuel. In which TV sitcom series would you have found Polly Sherman, Major Gowan and Manuel? Right, that concludes the 5 rounds of 6 questions. 2 points for each correct answer, as I previously said. I'm going to do a quick countdown and then I'm going to give you the answers. If you don't want to know the answers and you want to partake of the quiz, Just remember, don't listen to the answers. Right, first round. Those first set of 6 TV characters. Can't think of the word, to be honest. Right, that was it. Ben Harper, Susan Harper and Roger Bailey. And which TV show were they? It's My Family. Number 14, Jean, War Boys, Patrick Trench and Margaret Meldew. Well, obviously Margaret Meldew was the giveaway. It's One Foot in the Grave. Alan Moore, Miss Jones and Vienna the Cat. Well, Miss Jones and Vienna were giveaways there. Rats Rising Damp. Trigger, Boise and Uncle Albert. Well, everybody will know that that is Only Fools and Horses. Ted Bovis, Spike Dixon and Gladys Pugh. Heidi Eye. Stan Butler, Oliver and Inspector Blake. Inspector Blake was a dead giveaway on the buses. Right, from that we'll go to Prime Ministers. The Prime Minister who won the Admiral's Cup yachting race in 1971, well, there was only one sailing Prime Minister, was Ted Heath. Who graduated from Oxford University with a Bachelor of Science degree specialising in X-ray crystallography, that was Margaret Thatcher. The only Prime Minister to refuse 2 dukedoms by 2 different monarchs was Sir Winston Churchill. He was offered the Dukedom of Dover by King George VI following the end of World War II, and upon his retirement he was offered the Dukedom of London, and he refused both of them. Next, number 4, but there's 2 points for this one. Only 2 people have become Prime Minister without holding a previous ministerial office. Who were they? It's Tony Blair and David Cameron. And finally, who was the UK's oldest serving Prime Minister? It was William Gladstone. He was 84. Right. General knowledge. Speaker's Corner is in Hyde Park, of course. MI, as in MI5, MI6, stands for Military Intelligence. To date, the only female Speaker of the House of Commons is Betty Boothroyd. Which country was once called New Holland? Australia. Which statue, the statue of which guy, or well, I didn't say guy, but whose statue is outside the House of Commons holding a King James Bible? It's Oliver Cromwell. And finally, the largest country by size in Africa is Algeria. It used to be Sudan until Sudan split into South Sudan and Sudan. So the answer is Algeria. Right, so we'll go straight on to music. You'll remember me when the west wind moves upon the fields of barley. That song is Fields of Gold. I'll Be There For You, the Friends theme. Who sang that? It was the Rembrandts. Robert Plant. He's the lead singer of Led Zeppelin. What links Emily Bronte and Kate Bush? Kate Bush, who's recently returned to the #1 slot. It's obviously her big #1 hit from years ago, Wuthering Heights, because she sang it and Emily Bronte wrote it. And who famously wore a dress of beef to the 2010 MTV Awards? It was Lady Gaga. And who was the youngest Beatle? George Harrison. So there we are. 5 rounds, 6 questions, each round 30 points. Sorry, 30 questions, 2 points, 60 points in total. See how you do, all a bit of fun. With that, as I said, this is the last online quiz of Spennymoor Catholic Club following it's actually the 150th posting. There's been a mixture of video broadcasts, sound broadcasts, picture postings, general knowledge questions. All started following lockdown in March 2020. So it's been going just over 2 years, but now it comes to the end. So with that, good night, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. good evening when you're watching this, taking part. Take care. Bye-bye. God bless. Bye.